In this video, we will be discussing about the Indus Water Treaty 1960. But before we start the video, I would like to take a moment to reflect on the tragic terror attacks which has happened in Anantnag district of Jammu and Kashmir. India mourns again. As we all know, the deadliest terror attack in the history of Kashmir has taken place in the Besaran Valley in Pahalgam of Anantnag district, Jammu and Kashmir, in which 26 innocent civilians, 26 tourists have lost their lives in the cold blood. This attack is not the attack on the people, it's the attack on the unity of India, on the sovereignty of India, on the territorial integrity of India, but also on the very spirit of our nation. We all stand together in solidarity with the families of the victims, and this terror attack has lot of diplomatic as well as geopolitical consequences. As we all know, the recent Cabinet Committee on Security under the headship of our Honorable PM Narendra Modi has taken few measures which needs to be implemented with immediate effect. The first such measure is the suspension of Indus Water Treaty 1960 that we will be discussing in this video. The second, the pause of integrated checkpost at the Atari border. The third, all the Pakistani nationals who are living in India under the SAARC visa exemption scheme have been asked to vacate India within the span of 48 hours. Fourth, all the defense officers in the Pakistan High Commission have been declared persona non grata, which means unwelcome guest. They have been given a week to leave our country, to leave India. Fifth, the total strength of the commission from 55 has been reduced to 30. And all these consequences are not as important from the UPSC perspective, but the first consequence, that is in this water treaty, as UPSC aspirants, you should be knowing. You should be knowing not only about the provisions of the treaty, but also about the strategic consequence, diplomatic consequence, the environmental consequence or implications of this treaty. This treaty is important from two aspects. The first, GS2, that is international relations, and GS3, environment and water security. Now let's start today's video. First, what is Indus Water Treaty? So Indus Water Treaty refers to the treaty which distributes the equitable distribution of water of the Indus and its tributaries between two countries, that is India and Pakistan. Now the first one, it is signed on 19th of September 1960. That is 19th of September 1960. The second signatories, we know it was signed by the first Prime Minister of independent India, that is Jawaharlal Nehru, and Pakistan President Ayub Khan. Then the brokered by, who is the mediator, or the treaty was mediated or the brokered by, we all know it's World Bank. Then the two countries, as I've mentioned in starting, it is India and Pakistan. Then the eastern rivers, that is BRS, Beas, Ravi, Satluj, have been given to India. India has unrestricted use of these three rivers, or in other words, India has exclusive rights over these three rivers, that is Beas, Ravi and Satluj. The next western rivers, that is Indus, Chenab and Jhelum. Pakistan has unrestricted use over these rivers, but at the same time, India can also make use of these rivers, but to a restricted extent. Now, India can make use of Indus, Chenab and Jhelum for flood protection, for navigation, for fishing, for agriculture uses, agriculture use, but to a limited areas and not the exclusive rights which it has got under the BRS, but agriculture use only for limited areas as well as domestic use and specifically for drinking water. So India also has unrestricted use for these three rivers, and that too, these are the areas where India can use the waters of Indus, Chenab and Jhelum. Then comes the next, that is the key provisions of the Indus Water Treaty. Water allocation, as I've mentioned, BRS with India, ICJ with Pakistan. And India is saying that around 80% of the Indus River water goes to Pakistan and just 20% of the share comes to India. Now for Pakistan, Indus is the lifeline of Pakistan economy, as Pakistan people depend on the Indus River for their agriculture use, for their domestic use, as well as hydroelectricity generation. And this is the reason, despite the intrusion of Pakistan, despite the proxy warfare strategy by Pakistan, as well as terrorism strategy of Pakistan. Pakistan has attacked India in 1971. You talk about Kargil war, you talk about parliament building attack, you talk about Uri attack in 2016 or the Pulwama attack in 2019. India did not take such drastic step. But the recent attack in Pahalgam has taken so many innocent lives, which has put the entire nation in shock, as well as the global world leaders. You talk about US Donald Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin, Italy Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, or Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, all have criticized this terror attack against India. And for Pakistan, it is not we can't call it a random act of terrorism. Rather, we should call it as a well-calculated political move from two aspects. First, the second family of United States of America is in India. I'm talking about the Vice President of USA, that is James David Vance, along with his wife Usha Chilkari. They are on a 4-day visit to India, and Pakistan wanted to show that the terrorism is still prevalent in the Jammu Kashmir region. They want to destabilize Kashmir. They want to cripple the economic development of Kashmir, the social development of Kashmir. Kashmir is growing. Kashmir, after the abrogation of Article 370, has seen massive development in the last 5 years. But these organizations, the Resistance Front, which is the offshoot of Lashkar-e-Taiba, whose leader is Hafiz Saeed, they have claimed the responsibility for such attack, because when Kashmir grows, their income decreases and they can't handle that. Especially after Lashkar-e-Taiba was on the global watch list, it gave birth to TRF, that is the Resistance Front. And you would notice here that there is no Pakistani name here, as we can see Lashkar here, but there is no. So it's sort of rebranding Lashkar-e-Taiba under a new name. They have removed it from here, but they have put it here under a refurnished name, under a rebranded name. And what their goal is to cripple the development of Kashmir. And that is why they are very much excited about the attack. It was a well-planned attack, and that has shown their military strategy, the involvement of ISI, as well as the cross-border terrorism strategy by Pakistan. India believes in the policy of deterrence. India says if you attack, we retaliate. And that is why we have seen what has happened in Uri, this surgical strike. We have seen in Balakot airstrike in 2019. But here, as the Defense Minister Rajnath Singh has very dramatically said that India will give a loud, a clear response to what Pakistan has done in the near future. Now let's see how things unfold. And here India is preparing and Pakistan is shaking. Pakistan has increased its security along the LOC region, but let's see how things will unfold. Now next, Permanent Indus Commission. Now this is an intergovernmental body whose duty is to track the issues between both the countries and resolve such issues at the intergovernmental level or at the diplomatic level. Then comes the dispute resolution mechanism. Here it is divided into 3 stages. The first we have just discussed, that is permanent in this commission at the diplomatic level. Suppose in the first stage the issues are unable to get resolved, then the second step comes neutral expert by World Bank. Now what happens here is, if PIC, permanent in this commission, unable to resolve any of the issue between two countries, then there would be a neutral expert appointed by the World Bank to look into the issue and solve it. But again, even if the neutral expert appointed cannot solve the issue between the two countries, then comes the Court of Arbitration. Now this Court of Arbitration is a 7-member tribunal. It's a 7-member tribunal which will look after the issue, and try to resolve it. So dispute resolution mechanism, the PIC, the neutral expert by the World Bank, as well as the 7-member tribunal, that is the Court of Arbitration. Then comes the recent developments. As I've mentioned, the suspension of Indus Water Treaty 2025. As it is the lifeline of Pakistan, India has decided to pause this treaty with immediate effect. And Pakistan should realize, should know what it has been doing to India since independence. If we talk about Pakistan, Pakistan's economy is paralyzed. Pakistan is facing political rudderness. We all have seen what happened in Balochistan province. We all have seen what's happening in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. We all are seeing what's happening in Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Balochistan province, the recent train hijack case. In Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, there have been protests against the military. They want to overthrow the government in Islamabad. You talk about Pakistan occupied Kashmir, there are protests from the local groups, which even the local leaders have said, if you're not gonna agree to our demands, you will see the dead bodies of your soldier in the nearby dam. So what's happening in Pakistan? You look around anywhere in Pakistan, there is poverty, there is unemployment, there is economic underdevelopment, and people are fed up with the Islamabad government. But Pakistan, Islamabad, rather than looking into their own domestic issues, they are putting blame on the foreign hand. They are putting blame on Kabul as well as New Delhi. And Pakistan should look into themselves, should be having more transparency and accountability towards their own citizens, rather than blaming the foreign hand in whatever is happening in Pakistan. Now, Pakistan is using Kashmir as a tool to divert the Pakistan citizens' attention from the discontent what they're facing in Islamabad. Moreover, this attack, as I've said, it's a well-calculated political move, because on 16th of April 2025, the Pakistan Army Chief General Asim Munir has given a very fiery speech in one of the events in Pakistan, where he said that Kashmir is Pakistan's jugular vein. And Kashmir is vital for Pakistan's sovereignty, for Pakistan's security. And after 5 to 6 days, we have seen this deadly terror attack in the Pahalgam, Anantnag district. What does it talk about? In that event, Asim Munir has also talked about the two-nation theory, which was brought by Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founder of Pakistan. And there he said that India is very much different from Pakistan. Even we agree. Why shouldn't we agree? We should agree. Why? Because India is believing in providing aid to the small developing economies. And what Pakistan is doing, Pakistan is surviving on loan to loan. India is asking, or it's protesting against the China's aggressive expansionist policy, but Pakistan intentionally wants to become the Chinese colony. India is exporting laptops, is exporting all sort of goods to the world, and what Pakistan is doing, Pakistan is exporting terrorists to the world. What India is doing, India is providing all sort of support to the developing countries, as well as it's sending humans to the spaceflight missions. And what Pakistan is doing, Pakistan is sending beggars to Saudi Arabia. You talk about Pakistan economy, Pakistan poverty has risen to 7% in the last 10 years. Pakistan's currency has depreciated by 177% in last 10 years. You talk about Pakistan's GDP, 83% of Pakistan's GDP is under ruins, is under all loan. So this says that Pakistan's economy is paralyzed. Pakistan's economic crisis is there, and all weather friend of Pakistan, iron ally, that is China, is providing more and more loan to Pakistan under the debt trap diplomacy or the economic imperialism. Now here, the second hydroelectric projects, as we know, there are two very famous hydroelectric projects. That is the one Kishan Ganga project, and the next Rattle project. Kishan Ganga project is on Chenab River. Sorry, it's on Jhelum River, and Rattle project is on Chenab River. Now here, the Court of Arbitration has given approval for the Kishan Ganga project. That means the ruling was in favor of India in 2013, but the Rattle project is still under the process. That means this is still one of the bone of contention between both the countries, that is India and Pakistan. Now the next, that is the rivers, we will quickly see from the exam perspective. Before this, I would like to talk about Indus River. So as we all know, Indus River is Lake Mansarovar, Tibet in Trans-Himalayas. Here it's the origin of Indus River. Indus River enters India through Ladakh, then it flows through Jammu Kashmir before it enters the Gilgit-Baltistan region of Pakistan, and then it empties into Arabian Sea. This is one of the major rivers of South Asia, where around 200 million people depend on this river. If we talk about its tributaries, we have Shyok, we have Swat, we have Gomel, we have Kabul. Then here we have BRS, that is Beas, Ravi, Satluj, Chenab and Jhelum. So all these are the tributaries of the Indus. Now let's see the tributaries sources, that is Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas and Satluj. So Jhelum has its source in Verinag, that is in Kashmir Valley. Then Chenab has its source in near Baralachala Pass. Then the Ravi is Kullu Hills near Rohtang Pass. Again Beas near Rohtang Pass, and Satluj, that is Mansarovar Rakkas Lake, that is Tibet. I will quickly tell you here that Jhelum meets Chenab at Trimmu, Pakistan. Then Chenab meets Satluj after receiving Jhelum and Ravi. Then Ravi meets Chenab near Rangpur, Pakistan. Beas meets Satluj at Harike Barrage, India. And Satluj meets Indus a few kilometers above Mithankot, that is in Pakistan. Then comes the next, the challenges to the treaty. The first, Pakistan's opposition to the Indian projects. As I've just mentioned, Kishan Ganga project, Rattle project, it's talking about all the opposition which Pakistan is saying that no, you can't use the Indus water. That is one of the major challenges which India is facing, and that is why India wants to review the Indus water treaty, because since 1960 the treaty has not been reviewed, and it's been more than 60 to 65 years. So as per the changes, as per the demography has changed, the industrial requirement has changed, the agriculture requirement has changed, the electricity needs, the irrigation needs have changed of India. So India wants to review this treaty as well. Then environmental concerns, as we all know, due to global warming, due to climate change, the glaciers are melting, and the Indus water articulation needs to be changed as well. Then India's growing needs, as I've just mentioned, with increase in population as well as expanding agriculture sector, we need more water for irrigation as well as electricity. electricity. Then strategic use, as India has always said that water is a strategic asset, but blood and water cannot flow together. And in this case, the terror attack, this has been proven right again. The blood and water cannot flow together. One side you are saying, let's talk diplomatically over the Indus Water Treaty, and on the next level you are sending terrorists across the border to attack innocent tourists who are there in Kashmir just to enjoy their own time. You have just killed them based on their religion. This is horrific, which has again took the entire nation in shock. Then terrorism concerns, as we all know, the cross-border terrorism, the policy, the instigative policy of Pakistan is creating problems for the entire South Asia region. Then comes the next way forward, integrated water management as well as climate adaptation, basically all the joint initiatives for river water basin management as well as sustainable water management and climate control adaptation policies. Then comes modernization and renegotiation, the renegotiation between both the countries on diplomatic level that is permanent in this commission should sit and solve the issues bilaterally in order to divide the water. As I've said, 80% of Indus water is with Pakistan, 20% of Indus water is with India. So this needs to be renegotiated. Then international water law principles, here it's talk about no harm principle as well as equitable, reasonable utilization. No harm principle says that no state should harm the other state in case of water related disputes, but Pakistan जो अपनी आदत से मजबूर है, he will continue doing that. And next, equitable and reasonable utilization. There should be equitable water division between both the countries and reasonable utilization of the water, which is a strategic asset. Then transparency and data sharing, use of more satellite based data in order to monitor the Indus River as well as the division of waters. Then in last, the international conventions. Here you should be knowing it for the transboundary water agreements. If there are transboundary water agreements, you should be mentioning this as an example in your means answer. That is Helsinki Rules as well as Helsinki Convention, year 1992. I'll quickly read it for you, or you can just mention the names as well. So Helsinki Rules, it includes the principle of negotiations, the arbitration, as well as tribunals or the International Court of Justice. Then Helsinki Convention, legal framework for preventing and controlling water pollution across the national borders. With this, we have concluded the Indus Water Treaty 1960 from the UPSC perspective. But at the end, who the real enemy is? The enemy is not Hindu versus Muslim. It's not the Kashmiri versus the tourist. The enemy, the real fight is between India versus terrorism. So we as citizens of India should speak in one voice and unite against terrorism. Thank you so much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Thank you.